After eating too much and sleeping too little for far too long, a year ago today, I decided to take steps and make subtle improvements. I bought an Oura Ring, I already wore an Apple Watch, and then around about 6 months later, I bought a Whoop strap for reasons I'll get to in a moment. But which of these trackers is the best? Well, that's the kind of tricky question I'm going to try and answer for you today. So I will start with the Oura Ring first, because that's the purchase that kicked off my desire to be better. And with Oura, at least to begin with, it was all about fixing my lack of sleep. Now, I've always been a bit of a night owl when it comes to my productivity and how awake I am, but having kids that don't understand what sleeping past 6 AM means is challenging. So the Oura Ring was $299, and for all intents and purposes, it just looks like any other ring. Now, most people I've shown haven't even noticed until I've taken it off and shown them what it looks like on the inside. So using one of these, I've been tracking my sleep now for the last year, and it's been pretty good. I don't think it's been that accurate in some cases. For example, it tells me that when I get into bed, I fall into a very deep sleep after around about 3 minutes or something, when I know that some nights I'm laying there in bed, not moving, trying to fall asleep for way more than 3 minutes. But it did show me that most of my sleep was deep sleep, which my wife thoroughly agrees with straight away, because apparently once I'm asleep, I'm nearly impossible to wake up. So at least that part seems to be fairly accurate. Now, since then, I've been using the Oura Ring to try and guide me to make better decisions, even though I haven't adjusted my behavior a huge amount. And that's one thing I've learned from all of these health trackers. None of them will be 100% accurate, but use the data that they collect to guide you. For example, some days it will say to take it easy, but you feel like you could run a marathon. Some days it will say you're ready for anything and you just want to sleep all day. Now, I still stay up till around about 11:30 every night playing Fortnite with my friends, and by the time I actually drag myself to bed after watching YouTube videos and scrolling TikTok for about an hour or two, it's normally around about 1 AM by the time I actually climb into bed. I still want to improve that, but I'm more aware now of what late nights do to my overall health and my sleep score the next morning. Now, the one thing that the Oura has been very good for, though, has been when I've been sick this year. I've had tonsillitis a couple of times this year, and one time was a really bad moment when I was traveling for work. I was staying in a hotel, and I ended up calling to get some emergency kind of medication, and I was able to use the Oura Ring and the Oura app to tell those advising me on the phone exactly, how elevated my heart rate was and what my temperature was. And so now every time I start feeling a little under the weather, I'll check my Oura app to see what my body's doing, and if I can see that my temperature's spiking, for example, then I know something else is going on in my body, and I know to take it a bit easier. But because of this, I love wearing an Oura Ring all the time. You can wear it whilst you're sleeping because it's just a really light ring, and it's not uncomfortable to wear at all, just like a bulky Apple Watch, for example. Now, I wish that it didn't scratch as easily as mine has. Now, I ended up getting the stealth black version in the heritage style, I think it is. I think it looks really, really cool, and I guess it has survived a year's worth of usage as well, and still looks pretty good, to be fair. So as far as the Oura Ring goes, after having it for a year, I don't open the app up every single day, and I'm not constantly checking it, but I do constantly wear the ring, because when I think that something's not right, I can then look at the app to see if it confirms, what my suspicions are, so when I'm feeling under the weather or if I didn't get enough sleep, and it's been really good for that. Now, I'm going to leave links down below for the Oura and for everything else in this video as well, below that subscribe button, just in case you want to pick one up. But how does this compare to something like an Apple Watch? Well, something Oura isn't as good at is fitness, and I think an Apple Watch is one of the best investments you can get for that. It's pretty accurate when it comes to tracking your workouts with things like GPS tracking, but the thing that always stopped me from using this to track my sleep was the battery life. I couldn't fit in a time where I could charge my watch whilst getting ready in the morning, because I'd just end up forgetting it and leaving it on charge for the whole day instead and not wearing a watch. Until, of course, the Apple Watch Ultra came out, which genuinely lasts me a few days on a single charge. We are currently on 97% battery life, and that's after a morning, it's after a workout. It's done very, very well. But it does lack a temperature sensor, so there's nowhere in the app that tells me what my body temperature is, and for me that's been so useful to have on the Oura Ring that I still need both of these. It does track your heart rate, and recently when I knew from my Oura Ring that I was starting to come down with something over the Christmas holidays, I found myself actually reaching out to put on my Apple Watch in the middle of the night because my heart was racing, and then just as I expected, my watch then beeped at me or tapped me a few minutes later to tell me that my heart rate was extremely high when it hadn't detected any movement that should cause such a high heart rate. Now, I didn't know what I could do about it because I was just feeling under the weather and ill, but it just confirmed what I thought that I already knew. Now, I'm feeling fine now, thank you very much, but if you want to see those fitness trackers in use on my next video about using VR to get fit, then consider subscribing to the channel. And the one thing I have come to absolutely love with the Apple Watch is waking me up, weirdly. Now, the Oura can't wake you up, it can't vibrate or anything, but the Apple Watch has a very subtle vibration that doesn't shock you awake, it gently taps you on your wrist, and if you've ever used an iPhone alarm to wake you up, it's very similar to that, where it just gets kind of louder and louder or with the watch at least it taps, like the taps get more intense the longer you leave it. So when I need to wake up at a certain time now, like now with the kids being back to school, I'll be wearing this most nights now so it can be gracefully like waking me up in the morning. Now the Apple Watch is also one of the best devices to wear for workouts of any type. I've amassed a small collection of smartwatches over the last year or so, this is a bit stupid, and the Apple Watch Ultra has by far been the most responsive, it's got the widest selection of workouts, and now with one of the best battery lives of all of them compared to, say, the Pixel Watch, which will only show you the time on a swimming workout. Like the Apple Watch will give you your heart rate, the number of laps you've swum, and just so much more as well. So for pure fitness, Apple Watch Ultra every single day for me. Now it's still a question of whether this is a waste of money compared to, say, the regular Apple Watch, but the battery life on this Apple Watch Ultra is crazy good. So for me, between the Oura Ring and the Apple Watch, they've pretty much got me covered. So what about the Whoop strap? Because for the past 6 months, I've also been wearing one of these day and night, and actually barely taking this off my wrist since it comes with this wireless charging adapter where you don't even need to take it off your wrist to charge it. You just kind of slot it on the top. And now it's charging. So the Whoop costs around £250 for a year, and they give you this kind of free basic black version like I have, and then you can pay a monthly fee to use it and access the app and all the good stuff. Now the Whoop does a lot of similar things to both the Apple Watch and the Oura, but there are a good few reasons why I like this fitness tracker above the other two. Now firstly, when I go to the gym, I generally take all of my rings off because if you're lifting weights or gripping onto bars or anything, wearing a ring can be quite uncomfortable, and particularly with the Oura, it can scratch it quite easily. Now the Whoop doesn't have that problem, of course, because it's around my wrist, so I can still comfortably wear this during a gym session or when swimming or doing anything else. Now I personally haven't used it in any other way, but Whoop also lets you wear this device in like countless other ways. There's a bicep strap. They make clothes with pockets to tuck the Whoop sensor into. There are things like boxer shorts and swimming shorts. For girls, they've got bras and crop tops and just all sorts of different clothes that make wearing your Whoop sensor easily whilst working out. And actually for workouts, the Whoop gives you a strain sensor on the app where the Whoop will track how much strain you're putting on your body, and you can use it to then guide you through, to when enough is enough when you're working out. I found that really, really helpful. And the biggest thing that I love about the Whoop, and this I think is probably one of the main reasons that I would recommend this, is the daily journal. So every morning when you open the app, it asks you this kind of series of questions. Did you eat meat yesterday or fish, or did you take any vitamins? Drinking enough water? Do you have any alcoholic drinks? All these kind of things. Did you eat a late meal? And it basically uses all of this data and combines this with monitoring your sleep and your activity throughout the day. It produces this insanely long report. I'll put mine up on the screen and scroll through it, that tells you exactly how each thing affects your body. So whether there's a positive or a negative correlation between me eating meat and having energy the next day, or if my body actually sees any benefit from me having a multivitamin every single day. Now, for example, one thing that has been crystal clear with, well, actually all of these fitness trackers has been the effect alcohol has had on my body. But honestly, if I have one beer or a glass of wine, I can see through all of these fitness trackers that it ruins my sleep, as my body then spends hours trying to process the alcohol, and then my heart rate goes down again. It stays really, really high most of the night until it's kind of done digesting that alcohol. It's fascinating. But where it is one of the best things about the Whoop for me, it's also yet another thing for me to stay on top of each day, and some days, honestly, I just don't remember. In fact, the last week, I've either forgotten to check in my vitals each day, or probably honestly, I've actually opened the app where it's prompted me to check in, and I've just kind of scrolled to the bottom, hit OK, and then used the same answers because I've, always had the same kind of things every day. And I guess that's been something I've been a bit of a sucker for last year, is routine. I take the same vitamins every day, I eat the same kind of food, I still go to bed at the same kind of late time each night, and so after a while, for me at least, I'm feeling fatigued at having to tell it what happens every single day. So then I kind of just get into this routine where I just open up, scroll to the bottom and hit save, which probably defeats the point of having those settings there. But if that's something you're into, honestly, the reports and the insights you can get out of the Whoop are absolutely fascinating. Now, I'm actually going to continue wearing all three of these, for now at least, as they do provide some unique insights that the others can't do. Otherwise, thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.